Hi, this is John with Electromatic, and today we're going to go over how the sign formatting works with a PLC. So the general idea is that the sign is divided into a couple different regions. The first region is the sign face. So these are formatting options that affect the entire face of the sign. And those are vertical alignment and in mode. In mode can be either scroll or hold. Vertical alignment can be left, right, or center. We can find our different options on our ADP cheat sheet. And here is vertical alignment, top, middle, fill, and bottom. And in mode, scroll and hold. Okay, the next set of options are for rows. The number of rows that a sign can display it depends on the size of the font. So currently I'm displaying size 14 font, and this sign has 16 vertical pixels. So that means I can only display one row. But if I change the font size to 5, I could display up to 3 rows. So let's put something in a second row. I'm going to copy the formatting from row 1 and apply it to row 2. And then I'm going to put some text into a format segment and assign it to row number 2. And now we can see that the sign has 2 rows. So this vertical alignment, it can be top, bottom, and then there are 2 other ones, middle and fill. So middle will put the 2 rows directly in the middle, and the 2 rows will basically touch each other. So middle is 2. And fill will add some spacing between the 2 rows. Fill. So in mode can be either hold, which it is right now, or scroll. And I'll set it to scroll. When it's on scroll, if a message is long enough, it will scroll across the face of the sign. Now each segment can only be 30 characters. So to simplify things, well, I'll do it 2 different ways. The first way I'll do it is I will make the font size large, so we'll be able to fit all the characters we need to scroll in a single format segment. So let's make this font size 14. Okay. That's too long. Okay, let's load that up. Oh, I've got to stop my program from putting the count. Okay. Okay, so this is an example of some scrolling text, and if the text is smaller, obviously it would need to be longer. And let's say that I wanted to do that, I wanted to have smaller text. So what I would do is I'd make format segment 1 and 2 both fit on row 1 by indicating that with their row numbers. And here, I would tell it what to say. Right, and then let's copy the formatting and deploy that. So there we go. So that's kind of how formatting segments work. You essentially put together groups of text in up to 30 characters that have the same formatting. So let's say that I want a cross to be a different color. So let's just make this 0, copy this, and then So to scroll across the sign. So I want across to be red. So now I'll update this. So in that way you can change different parameters of the text. You can have keywords that are different colors, or they can even flash. I don't think flash is compatible with scroll, so I'm not going to demo that. But that's basically the idea. Okay, let's go and make a table so we can use all of the different rows and format segments in kind of a real type application. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have like the word count here, count the word ID here in some identifier, and I'll line everything up so that it looks like an actual table. So I'm going to remove this and I'll put my count into element 1 of this text array. So now my count is going into format segment 1 inside of my PLC, inside of my application here. So as you can see, there's my count, and this will just say count. This will be, these two will be on row 0, and these two will be on row 1. This will say ID, and we're going to change the row formatting, make these 7 pixels, we'll make them, 7 pixels high. Okay, so they're both 7 pixels high. This is on row, that's on the row, that looks good. Now down here, and then the ID would probably come from somewhere, so I'm just going to simulate that by typing something in. Okay, so now I'm going to send this, and we'll see what we got. Oh, I also want to turn it off of scrolling and put it back to hold mode. Okay, so as you can see, we have count here and ID here, but we want this to look like a table. So the way I do this is I just figure out how many characters there would be for each column in my table. So let's say that I want this to be over a couple of spaces, but I'll keep this column 5 characters because I know that this count never goes over 5. So let's add 3 characters to count, which would make this a total of 8 spaces. Let's do that. And that means that we would need to add 6 to ID. And let's say I want this ABC. It's always going to be 3 characters. I want it to be right justified inside of that column, so I would have to figure out how to pad a number of spaces to that ID to make it equal to 5. Okay, so now we can see we have count and ID. Let's see, horizontal alignment, center. Okay, we have count and ID left justified in the left column in rows 1 and 2, and then our count is actually counting, and our ID is here. Then I can change. Maybe I want my labels to always be green, so we want ID to be green. And maybe that count is too high, so that needs to be red. Otherwise, data would always be yellow. Okay, so that's it. That's a quick example of how you can use the ADP Gateways interface data block in your PLC. Thanks.